Jazakallah khair, and shout out to Brother Hassan and the whole team, mashallah, behind the scenes. I've been seeing the clips with Imam Muhammad on the Instagram with the nice, the lighting and the backdrop and all that stuff. And mashallah, you guys put a lot of effort and ihsan into this. Mashallah, may Allah bless you all. Allahumma ameen. My name is Zohair. I'm a student at Qalam Seminary Year 3 and Youth Director at ICI at Urbi Masjid. And I know Imam Muhammad from my work with MAS. I do tarbiyah on college campuses, so UTD, UTA, etc. We go and give tarbiyah for the leaders, actually, leadership training and stuff like that for the campuses. And that's where I met Imam Muhammad, because he also did a lot of activism work with MAS. And he's, mashallah, an incredibly active and sincere leader in our community. May Allah bless him. Allahumma ameen. The caption said one thing for the topic, but the time that we're in, the day that we're in, specifically October 7th, being 2 years from the beginning of this era of oppression in Gaza, in Palestine as a whole, it got me reflecting a bit more. And I kind of want to begin at least with a bit of a reflection and tribute to the martyrs of Gaza. That when we hear about the martyrs of Gaza, and we say that they have passed away, there's an ayah in the Quran that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions that we don't say about those who have passed away in the path of Allah that they are dead. Rather, they are alive. It's a beautiful, beautiful verse. He says, وَلَا تَحْسَبَنَّ الَّذِينَ قُتِلُوا فِي سَبِيلِ اللَّهِ أَمْوَاتًا بَلْ أَحْيَاءٌ عِندَ رَبِّهِمْ يُرْزَقُونَ. Do not think about those who have passed away while fighting or being in the way of Allah as dead. Rather, they are alive with their Lord, being provided for. And when we hear that, we're like, whoa, what does that mean? It's like a different realm, like what's going on here? And that's the same way that the Sahaba were. Oftentimes we kind of think of the Sahaba as, like all scholars and all people who are, always very serious and always very, professional. But they're also very relatable. So they heard this and like, Ya Rasulullah, like what does that mean? And Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam said that the souls of the martyrs are contained within green birds, perched on the arsh of Allah, perched on chandeliers under the arsh of Allah, and they are being provided by Allah whatever they wish. And it's to the point that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He asks the martyrs, these souls contained in these green birds. Yes. هذا الحديث اللي في العربي؟
لا الحديث في القرآن مفهوم بس يعني بعض الكلمات ما نفهمها مش لحالي يعني.
Okay, gotcha. So, how I can explain it to you in Arabic?
Speak Arabic you?
لا أنا من باكستان. ولكن شوي الأرواح في الطير الأخضر والله تعالى يسألهم ما تريدون والأرواح يقول ماذا نريد? Like what else would we want? هذه جنة. لا حاجة آخر. That's all we're going to get today, inshallah.
No problem.
So, these souls that are contained in these green birds, Allah asks them, do you wish for anything? Do you want anything? And they say, Ya Allah, we're in Jannah, we get provided with whatever we want. What else could we possibly want? And Allah asks them again, what do you want? So I can give it to you. And they say the same thing. And the third time Allah asks, what do you want so I can give it to you? You know what they say? This is beautiful, subhanAllah, authentic hadith. They say, we wish for nothing except that we can become alive again, die for your sake again as a shaheed, and be right here. We want nothing else except to go back to the dunya, die for your sake again, and be rewarded in this way again. That's all they want. So these martyrs of Gaza, may Allah free our brothers and sisters of Palestine sooner than soon, say Ameen. They, after they pass away, wish for nothing else except to go back and do it again for the sake of Allah. And they are provided in a way that they want literally nothing else. You know, it's so crazy, subhanAllah, because they don't have to wait for the Yawm al-Qiyamah to commence. They don't have to wait for the Day of Judgment to commence. Right now, as we speak, they're being provided for, perched under the throne of Allah, above the seventh heaven. SubhanAllah. And I think this gives a bit of solace for us when we see, just yesterday, see such an innocent young child smiling and laughing, and the video cuts to gone. The soul's gone. And just today I was looking at a post from Sheikh Omar where he met a child whose arms were blown off from Gaza. And he said, I wish I could have given salam, but my tax dollars caused his arms to be blown off. And you can relate to this, I'm sure, we not only feel powerless, but also that we are complicit in a way because of our tax dollars. And we feel that the hardship of these martyrs of Gaza, that what they have gone through, we feel sorry for them. But we shouldn't feel sorry for them, we should feel sorry for ourselves. That they are being provided for in a way that we can't even imagine. And we still have our test. That they passed their test with flying colors. Flying colors. The highest maqam. Every single day, 17 times a day in Surah Fatiha, we ask Allah to make us from a certain type of people. Ihdina sirat al-mustaqim, guide us to the straight path. Sirat al-ladhina an'amta alayhim, the path of those whom you blessed. غَيْرِ الْمَغْضُوبِ عَلَيْهِمْ, not those who earn your wrath. وَلَا الضَّالِينَ, I don't want to be from those who are lost either. In Surah An-Nisa, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala does a tafsir of this ayah with another ayah. الَّذِينَ أَنْعَمَ اللَّهُ مِنَ النَّبِيِّينَ وَالصِّدِّيقِينَ وَالشُّهَدَاءِ وَالصَّالِحِينَ. That when we ask Allah to make us from the people أَنْعَمْتَ عَلَيْهِمْ, that He has blessed, we're asking Allah to make us on the path of the Nabiyyin, which means what? Hello, go in the back. What is Nabiyyin? Nabiyyin, ma ma'na Nabiyyin? في الإنجليزي. You got it in the back, yes, you. Nabiyyin, Nabi. Prophet, messenger. So the Nabiyyin was Siddiqeen, the people of truthfulness, was Shuhada, and who are the Shuhada? The martyrs. These martyrs of Gaza and elsewhere. Was Salihin, and the righteous. That every single day we ask at least 17 times per day to be among these four groups of people. And so whenever we are in Salah, we can also imagine this, that we're asking Allah to raise us with the martyrs of Gaza. We just want to make it in their ranks. We're nothing like them and we're so far from them in virtue. But we can hope in Allah that He raises us amongst them and allows us to reside with them in paradise. May Allah grant us all of that. Allahumma ameen. Now, what I wanted to reflect on in the context of the series of the land of Palestine, the land of Palestine, is the whole episode, the miraculous journey of Isra wal Mi'raj. I just came actually directly from Irving Masjid. That's where I do my youth work, and we had a Salah workshop for the kids, the middle school boys, and we talked about Salah in the context of why it was given to us. That Salah was actually an incredible gift gifted to us after Allah took Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam from the earth up to the heavens, past all the seven heavens, and then past that to meet Allah. But what was the context of that? It was after the year of Huzn. What does huzn mean? Anyone can answer. Of sadness, of sorrow. That there was so much hardship in Mecca. What do you mean a whole year of sorrow? Wasn't it all sorrow? It was a specific year where Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam lost some of the most beloved people to him, including who? Anyone can raise their hand, inshallah. The Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam lost who in the year of sorrow? Khadija radiallahu anha. The love of his life, his rock, when he came down the mountain, the Ghar Hira, after receiving revelation, being squeezed almost to death by this huge angelic being that fills the horizon of my vision. And he comes down the mountain, running down, scared for his life. And he says, Zammiluni, Zammiluni, cover me, cover me. And Khadija radiallahu anha is there to comfort him. That nothing wrong, nothing bad is happening to you. Why would Allah do anything like that to you? You help the needy, you help the poor. You help the widow and the orphan. You give back your trusts. You stay close, you stay true to your word. Why would Allah do anything other than bless you? That this solace of his life, Khadija radiallahu anha, that he used to turn to in times of hardship, she was gone. And who was the second that he had lost in that year? Abu Talib, his uncle. So you can think of it as his heart, the love, the compassion, but also the protection. That his material protection lied in Abu Bakr. That he was the head of the tribe of Quraysh. Sorry, Abu Talib, what did I say? Abu Bakr, sorry, my fault. Abu Talib. Now Abu Talib was the head of the tribe, and if it wasn't for him, then they could easily oppress and be violent with the Muslims. And that happened after his death. And now after the most beloved people to him pass away, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he goes off to Ta'if. And what are they hoping for Ta'if to be? That they're receiving all this oppression and the corruption of Mecca, the torture even of their people, even to the point of death for some of the Sahaba. And so they're hoping for Ta'if to be the spot, to be the new place to settle, safety, solace, security. But rather, they find there Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam is driven away, is pushed away from the city. And not only that, on his way out, the people line up, including the children, and of stoning our beloved Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam on the way out. That a place that was supposed to be a place of solace became a place of so much pain and hardship. And that was a journey on foot. While he's walking back, the blood is soaking his sandals. Sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And he returns back that long, arduous journey while being injured. And he goes back to his home. And it wasn't like before where he said, Zammiluni, Zammiluni. He came back home and his wife was not there. Khadija was not there. That this was the moment that Allah sent the angels to cleanse the heart of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and then Allah allowed Rasulullah to embark on this journey of a lifetime, going from Mecca to Jerusalem in Palestine, and then Palestine up to the heavens. Now, in Jerusalem, what was the famous act that the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam did with the other prophets? Salah. It's so interesting. If you were to meet the prophets, right? I mean, like Musa alayhi salam, how is it like to have the staff turn into a snake? Like you really took that thing and split the sea? Like, I want to hear about that. I want to talk to him about that. That Isa alayhi salam, how did you out here bring people back to life and leprosy and all these things? Like, I want to hear from them. I want to talk to them. But that one action that they did together was salah. It's so interesting, subhanAllah. Like, what is the value and the weight and the virtue of salah? That all of the prophets were brought together to pray. Just to pray together. And who is the imam of this blessed jama'ah? None other than Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam. And so the context of this journey gives us a sneak peek into the intended purpose of Isra al-Mi'raj. that it was to show Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam that he was not alone. That every messenger before you, they took this message and they sacrificed for this message. They went through hardship, they went through loss, they went through broken hearts, they went through maybe even broken teeth, broken limbs, to spread this message of the deen. And Allah showed Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam that he had a squad with him, that he had a group of blessed people who went through the exact same thing as he did. And not only that, that was just the appetizer before the greatest gift possible, where Allah took Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam up through the levels of Jannah until they reached with Jibreel the highest level of Jannah. And before Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam went on past the highest level of Jannah to meet Allah one-on-one, Jibreel said, "You got it from here. I can't go any further. I'm not allowed any further." Jibreel alayhi salam, the one who brought that message down to every messenger, this noble angel, that he wasn't even allowed to take that next step, was reserved for Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam. And in that moment, above the seventh heaven, after the year of sorrow, after meeting all the messengers of before, that is when Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam and all of us by extension receive the greatest gift of salah. Now I want to connect salah to our activism and our voices and our work that we try to put in as much as we can for Palestine. It's really interesting. The first three revelations. What were the first three revelations to Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam? You can raise your hand, inshallah. So the first one was Iqra, as you mentioned. Iqra bismi rabbika alladhi khalaq. Read in the name of your Lord who created. That is Surah Alaq. After that was the second revelation, which was Surah Muzammil. Very good. And then after Surah Muzammil, Surah Muddathir. It's really interesting. This is not by coincidence. Of course, it's Allah as the author. Ya ayyuhal muzammil, qum al-layla illa qalila. Ya ayyuhal muddathir, qum fa'andir. That Allah links these two surahs very intentionally. What does al-muzammil mean? The one who was wrapped. So that is obviously in response to zammiluni, zammiluni. That when Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam said, cover me, cover me. And he is scared for his life. After the first revelation, and Allah said, Ya ayyuhal muzammil, O you who have been covered up, qum, stand up. Stand up where? Stand up at night and pray. Nisfahu aw inqus minhu qalila. Maybe half of the night or a little bit less. Or zid alayhi wa rattil al-Qur'ana tartila. Or increase in that, more than a half. And recite the Qur'an at night when no one's watching. Interesting. We did not start with the 5 salawat. At the beginning of Risalah, at the beginning of the message, the only salah that was farad on Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam was what? It was qiyam. It was actually the night prayer. That was the only fard salah. And there's many potential wisdoms to this. One of them that our Shaykh mentioned is that during this time of oppression and the private secret da'wah, that they would be in danger if they were all praying these daylight prayers. So the night prayer was special for that time. But that night prayer continues on for us. And so when Allah says, Ya ayyuhal muzammil, qum al-layla illa qalila, nisfahu aw inqus minhu qalila, aw zid alayhi wa rattil al-Qur'ana tartila, inna sanulqi alayka qawlan thaqila. We're about to give you a heavy message. A heavy message. And later, inna nashi'at al-layli hiya ashaddu wat'an qila, inna laka fi an-nahari sabahan tawila. This is really interesting. You have a long day ahead of you, so don't sleep. Is this supposed to be like the opposite? Your parents tell you, or your siblings tell you, or even your kids tell you, or your wife or your husband tells you, you got a long day ahead of you, you got to get some rest. Opposite. You have a long day ahead of you. Sabahan tawila, wadhkur isma rabbik. So remember your Lord at night. You have a long day ahead of you, so don't sleep. So this salah, this standing at night, was the strength and the spiritual power through which Rasulullah ﷺ did his work during the day. Now we switch. Ya ayyuhal muddathir. O you who have covered up yourself, again with a different root. Allah is connecting these two surahs. Qum, stand, rise, fa'anthir, and warn. Qum al-layla illa qalila, qum fa'anthir. Meaning, when we are in our comfort zones, when we feel paralyzed maybe by fear or by seeing what we see in front of us on our screens, that Allah tells us to rise. We can't stay seated. We can't stay asleep. We gotta wake up. قُمِ اللَّيْلَ إِلَّا قَلِيلًا. You have a long day ahead of you, so stay up at night. That will be your strength for the day. So in the day you can warn. In the day you can guide people. In the day you can teach people and preach about the message of Islam. In the day you can raise your voice, فَأَنْذِرْ, protesting for our brothers and sisters in Gaza. That the strength of the activists comes from the spirituality. And this is crucial, wallahi crucial. We have a divide in our community where there is one camp of people where mashallah, tabarakallah, in the masjid, doing the dhikr, they might be, doing the group dhikr, you'll be having a good time. And it's comfortable. And it's good to do the worship by yourself. But they are not active. They don't involve themselves in the activism, in the BDS, the boycott and divestment and sanctions, in the protesting, in the raising the voice, in going to city council, in all of these things. That's for the birds, man. I'm trying to focus on, me and Allah. But Allah called Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam to stand before him at night so that he can stand before the people in the day. And so the other camp of people are those who, mashallah, are super active. This is really prevalent on campus, right? Like I went to UTD myself, mashallah, the encampments at UTD, the protests, they had a protest today, literally. This week is divestment week. If you are available, inshallah, please do come. This Friday night, you have the Students for Justice in Palestine as well as the Muslim Students Association. They have a joint charity banquet for Gaza, inshallah, for education actually, for Gazan students, Palestinian students. So please make it out for that Friday night, 7:30 p.m. if you're available at UT Dallas, inshallah. So these incredible activists all throughout the country that are going to the protests, talking to their senators, talking to their mayors, going to city council, doing the BDS movement, all of these things, speaking up. But it's not always in the worldview of Islam. We have a lot of people that are, mashallah, active, but might have very liberal values. You have people who are on the other side of the spectrum, I'll say, right? LGBTQ plus alphabet, salad, right? That these are commonly people who are active. But our worldview as Muslims is that they're both hand in hand. Ya ayyuhal muzammil qum al-layla illa qalila. O you who have covered yourself up, rise at night and pray when others are asleep. And Ya ayyuhal muddathir qum fa'anthir. O you have covered yourself up, rise and warn the people. That is our spirituality and our activism. Our sacred activism. So Shaykh Imam Dawood Walid in Michigan, he wrote an incredible book called Sacred Activism. So bringing the Islam back into Islamic activism. Right? That this is our way of being as Muslims. That we do not sit idle and only do our personal worship, and we do not get active without leaving off our obligations before Allah. Our worship of Allah and Allah's barakah is what allows us to do that work. And so that's one major connection that we can make between the Isra al-Mi'raj, the Salah that the Prophets made together in Jerusalem, and the current times that we're living in. Another one that we can make as well is that in that same Salah, we mention at the end of our salawat, At-Tahiyyatu lillahi was-salawatu wat-tayyibat, Assalamu alayka, may peace be upon you, O Messenger, ayyuhan nabiyyu, wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, and His mercy and His blessings. Assalamu alayna, may peace be upon us, wa ala ibadillahi as-salihin, and upon all of His righteous servants. And we mentioned the ayah in Surah Nisa, that is the tafsir of the ayah in Surah Fatiha, that the 4 groups of people that we ask Allah to make us from are Nabiyyin, was-Siddiqeen, was-Shuhada, was-Salihin. The prophets, the martyrs, the truthful, and the righteous. That we can actually be raised with these groups of people if we are righteous. And not only that, we get the dua of every single person who prays. Assalamu alayna wa ala ibadillah salihin. May peace be upon the righteous slaves of Allah. How many Muslims are there in the world? Someone tell me. I don't even know what the current estimate is, but the estimate that we've all heard recently.
2 billion.
2 billion, right? 2 billion Muslims. Let's assume that only 1/4 of them pray 5 times a day. Just an assumption. 500 million people praying 5 times a day. As an assumption, as an estimate. How many times do we do the qa'dah, the sitting, where we say At-Tahiyatu Lillah? We have 5 salawat, 3 of them, 4 of them, we say it twice. Right? Zohair, Asr, Maghrib, Isha, we sit twice. 9 times 500 million. What's that? It's crazy. What's the number? 4.5 billion. Subhanallah. 4.5 billion du'as every single day. Subhanallah. 4.5 billion du'as every single day for you. If me and you can strive to be righteous, strive to be salih. And so when we are in salah, from Fatiha to sujood to the qa'dah, from reciting Fatiha and asking Allah to make us on the same path as the martyrs of Gaza and the messengers and the righteous and the truthful, to being in our sajda, which is when we are the closest to Allah. Even though we feel physically the farthest maybe, our head is literally on the lowest point on the ground, and we're saying Subhana Rabbi al-A'la. How perfect is my Rabb, my loving, nurturing master, the most high. It's really interesting. Allah chooses these adhkar. The Prophet ﷺ gave us these adhkar specifically, that we are in our lowest time physically, and Allah is the most high, and we're showing the difference between us and Allah, that we are servants and slaves of Allah. It's interesting, Rasulullah ﷺ, he said, Man wada'a nafsahu rafa'ahu Allah. Whoever lowers himself, Allah raises them. So when we actually humble ourselves before Allah, Allah raises us. So we're in the lowest point. And Allah is the most high, Subhana Rabbi al-A'la. But as we're lowering ourselves, Allah raises us. And as He says in the end of Surah Alaq, وَاسْجُدْ وَاقْتَرِبْ. Prostrate and draw near. So the nearest we're ever going to be in this dunya is in sajda. Which is why the sajda is the perfect time for dua. So how do we connect to our reality of today in salah? That we connect by wanting to be with them on Yawm al-Qiyamah and with them in Jannah when we're reciting Fatiha. Number 2, making dua for them in that closest, most intimate conversation with Allah in sujood. And number 3, while we're doing the sitting, we're making dua for all of the believers that are righteous and who are more righteous than them. That's how we can connect in our daily salawats. Because we have to make up for what we are automatically doing despite our wishes, our tax dollars, going to these lands, the Zionist entity, to go and do what they're doing. That we have to make up for this. At least istighfar, at least making dua, at least trying to do our part to speak up. And the salah, from the Fatiha to the sujood, to the qa'dah, to the qum al-layla illa qalila, and the qum fa'andir, every single part of the salah is not for us to just stand idle and only stand in prayer. It is to prepare us for our standing before Allah. Our qiyam prepares us for the Yawm al-Qiyamah, the standing before Allah, and prepares us for the qum, the qiyam, the standing, and warning the people. Qum fa'andir. So I wanted to end, inshallah, with a few tips for me and you that can allow our daily salawat to be this grounding spirituality and push to action that it's meant to be. And then inshallah we'll have our free snacks and free pizza, right? I think so.